I don't know how we're going to fit this all into one video, but I wanted to talk about 3 players today and 3 different stories. First, we're going over the updates as to Chris Tanev post getting traded to the Dallas Stars and what his future could look like after this season. Second, we're talking about Elias Pettersson because there have been new ideas floating around there and comments made as to his potential contract extension, as well as what actually happened to lead to these talks picking up now. And thirdly, we have ourselves an update on Jonathan Lekkerimaki, because I don't know if you can see it, it's already on the side of the screen here, but this guy has been amazing, and he just scored a gosh darn lacrosse goal about an hour ago. My gosh darn goodness. So, let's kick things off with probably the hottest and frantic topic that is on the market right now. Chris Tanev just got traded to the Dallas Stars. He's 34 years old. He's making $4.5 million a year till the end of this season, and he is one of the best shot-blocking, defensively minded defensemen in the NHL. The Dallas Stars got themselves a good one, but we had ourselves a conversation posted by Eric Francis, who just got off the phone with Chris Tanev, who said it's been an emotional 24 hours, as he has loved his time in Calgary. Tanev took Eric Francis through the process that led to this trade, which he is excited about. We had brief talks in training camp, and then, basically a couple of weeks ago, I sat down with Connie and said, I want to try to win. This could be my best chance to do it. He was super understanding and would only trade me to a team where they had potential to win, and I appreciate that. As hard as it was, I felt it was my best opportunity to win a Stanley Cup, which has been my ultimate goal my whole career. He'll remain in Calgary for a few more days while trying to secure his visa, and said that while he's excited to throw himself into the Stars' experience, he will remain open-minded if he becomes a UFA in the summer, and would not dismiss the possibility of re-signing in Calgary. So, seeing Tanev himself already kind of float around the idea, not entirely shut down the possibility of a return to the Calgary Flames, while I will say it is kind of cool to see him maybe come back in some capacity, this seems to be more so just like the respectful way to go about it, you know? Like, I can't tell the future. I can't tell you where Chris Tanev is going to sign in the offseason. We'd seen a bunch of rumors saying that the Vancouver Canucks would be interested in signing a guy like Chris Tanev once he became available. With this in mind, though, we did have ourselves some news that may dissuade the Vancouver Canucks from wanting to go out there and get Tanev. Here's what Rick Dalibor said. He says sources are saying that Chris Tanev is going to get $5 million AAV on the free agent market, and the Vancouver Canucks are not going to like that. And yeah, I don't know, man. Tanev is good. I like Tanev, but re-signing him to a contract worth $5 million AAV, that does not really seem like the best way to use up the cap space, considering how if Tanev gets brought on to Vancouver, it's not guaranteed that he'll be a top 4 defenseman. If they keep Juleson around, they'll still have Hronek, most likely. If you have Hronek and Juleson on there, I mean, you could try to split the load with Juleson, especially defensively. These guys play a pretty similar style of game, but I don't know if it's worth it to really be paying $5 million a year for a guy who may find himself on the third pairing if you really do believe in the profile that Noah Juleson has. We also had ourselves some more conversation as to what exactly it could have taken to get Tanev traded in the first place. A young center or a young forward in lieu of a young defenseman could have also made the Tanev trade possible, according to the Flames general manager. We had seen that the young defenseman that was included was Artem Grushnikov. If there was a young center or a young forward, then maybe I guess I could have gotten the trade done too. But I mean, thinking about it like this, just a young player in general would have been able to get it done. Why did you have to go out there and specify it in this way? You didn't really narrow anything down there, Craig Conroy. So with this in mind, I mean, Chris Tanev is going over to a cup-contending team in Dallas. He will be paid in the offseason. Whether that's with Vancouver, we don't really know, but this seems to be the scoop here. If he goes back to Calgary, then okay, that'd be interesting, but they may have to pay him upwards of $5 million a year. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section as to how you feel about that dollar amount. Moving over to our other top story, though, this was taken over the headlines for about 20 minutes yesterday before the Tanev trade ended up going down. We had ourselves some some updates on Elias Pettersson and the entire situation with him, as, hey, the guy is making $7.3 million this year. He's eligible to re-sign for next year and beyond. What is the update? Well, we had ourselves the latest 32 Thoughts podcast where Elliotte Friedman went out there and said this, that there's no doubt that the Vancouver Canucks and Elias Pettersson are talking. These talks re-engaged on Tuesday night. I think this. It's very possible, and I would believe likely, that the Vancouver Canucks and Elias Pettersson's reps have had conversations without him knowing about what a deal could look like. It comes down to Pettersson. If he's ready, I think they're obviously going to throw a lot of money at him. Friedman said this is weighing on both the Canucks and Pettersson, and he also says that there was a team that made an offer that Vancouver turned down. It was a very legitimate attempt, and we'll see where it goes on a Pettersson extension. It all depends on if Pettersson gives the go-ahead, and Elliotte Friedman does not know if that will happen or not. Jeff Merrick, though, he goes out there and thinks that Elias Pettersson was asked directly from Jim Rutherford about the contract extension. So that's an interesting note as well, seeing the president getting involved and wanting to get these negotiations done. But I do think that this comment is one that makes sense to me, that, hey, it's very possible that Elias Pettersson's agency went out there and talked with the Canucks without Pettersson knowing. So if that's the case, then hey, maybe Elias Pettersson actually did want to wait. Maybe it was the agency that pushed things forward and had things going on the go, because after this social media thing went ablaze about Pettersson potentially wanting to leave, then, hey, everybody's best interest is for this entire thing to get shut down, right? For everybody to get calmed down and to stop thinking about it. Speaking about what that dollar amount could be, you had yourselves Frank Saravalli make an appearance on Sekeres and Price earlier this morning, where he went out there and said you inch closer to the $100 million range, and that's one less roster player that the Canucks can afford. I've never gotten the sense that Pettersson and his camp is trying to set a new record. I don't think it's going to make it Matthew's AAV level, so 13. I was told that it could be completed in the next number of days. I don't know the exact timeline on that. The Canucks have gone quiet, as you might expect. They're in the cone of silence right now. So it does not seem like $13 million is going to be in the cards here. Maybe it's more so in that $100 million range, and if you do 100 divided by 8, that's around an AAV of 12.5. Look, if it's an 8-year deal for 12.5, I kind of start to be more okay with it. I know I've been saying this entire year that Pettersson has not been a $12 million player, but he is 25 years old right now. So he will get better, hopefully. Moving over onto some other conversations here, Saravalli on his own DFO Rundown show had himself a clip. The Canucks and Pettersson's camp made significant progress on a new deal on Wednesday night, and it doesn't say here in the tweet, but it does say in the Canucks sub that Pettersson's AAV is going to be above $12 million. It's going to be expected to be around that $100 million total range. So with this in mind, that's more in the Nylander territory-esque, if you wanted to talk about Nylander and his extension that he had signed with Toronto. If Pettersson goes for something similar, then honestly, that's okay, especially if you're banking on Pettersson to be a little bit better as the years go on. I'm just saying for right now, like this season, he has not been a $12 million player. You could say that Nylander for a moment was, and he eventually got that extension and then stopped scoring afterwards, which is very unfortunate, but still. Pettersson in this dollar range at this length is becoming a little bit easier to stomach as the days go on. And we had ourselves also Ray and Dregs go out there and say, yeah, Darren Dreger said that the Pettersson deal is not 12 by 8 like Pagnotta reported. He believes it will be in that Nylander range. Talk started on Tuesday and continued into Wednesday. And so furthermore as to how everything went down, this is what Rick Dhaliwal said on Twitter. The noise in the market about Elias Pettersson's contract reached a fever pitch in the past week. Canucks management met with Pettersson in the last few days, and they got back to the negotiating table. Certainly not done, but they are talking about a contract. And the first reply, Chester Mang says, yeah, should we be thanking Canucks Twitter for this one, Rick? Because, of course, I mean, it's easy to say that all this conversation and speculation about Pettersson wanting to leave was too much, that it got to the point where Pettersson was like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's negotiate now. Everybody's freaking out. Let's just try to nip this in the bud, calm everything down, and make it so that we can proceed forward with peace, because that is very important too. Now, I did say at the beginning of this video that I wanted to talk about one more thing, and that was the fact that Jonathan Lekkerimaki, Vancouver Canucks prospect, went out there and scored himself a gosh darn Michigan goal, and it was so beautiful. He's the guy behind on the right side of the net in red, and after the puck gets played back down to him, he takes it and he quickly whips it on goal to score, and it was such a quick Michigan goal. Even the replay over here, you could see it's on the stick and off the stick so quickly. Jonathan Lekkerimaki is just so talented. We didn't think that he'd be able to do this out of all things, right? A Michigan goal where he doesn't even come over with the windup. Like, the puck just comes onto his stick and he quickly flips it in the back of the net. Now, he's up to 6 goals in his last 5 games played and 8 goals in his last 10. This is a player who has been dominating the SHL as of late with 19 goals in 41 games played. Just thought I'd throw out some positive Canucks news to end out this video, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Firstly, about Chris Tanev and the idea of him resigning in Calgary. What are your thoughts on his $5 million contract that he'll probably sign? Elias Pettersson seems to be getting things done quickly. We'll see 12 million, 12.25, 12.5-ish as the AAV when all is said and done. And Jonathan Lekkerimaki is dominating the Swedish League. We haven't made too many videos about him lately, but we may have to do so considering the fact that he's been scoring so many goals as of late. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these 3 guys, Tanev, Pettersson, and Lekkerimaki. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.